Subscribe now.
Hey there, Dr. No Mercy here, and this is going to be my 9.2.5 Kyrian Marksman guide. So with that, let's start this guide. So the first thing we're going to talk about is talents. The first row, I choose Master Marksman over Serpent Sting, and my reasoning for this is the same as my first video, which said that I'd rather choose this over Serpent Sting because I play Surging Shots, Legendary for the most of the parts, and I'd rather spend that extra global if I have time to do damage to potentially get a free rapid fire or just to cast aim shot, just because aim shot does a lot of damage based on the next row, which I choose careful aim now versus explosive shot. And the reason why I choose careful aim now is because of your 4-set tier bonus. So as you can see, whenever you have trick shots, you increase your damage of the effective shot by 30%. And the things that are trick shots effects are aim shot and rapid fire. So in that sense, during your burst window, you basically have a trick shot proc and you'd rather hit a huge aim shot rather than explosive shot. And as well as in between your goes, you're getting trick shots because your 4-set says that whenever you spend 40 focus, you basically get one free trick shot proc. So your aim shots will be doing significantly more damage during goes and during off goes when you're just waiting for your next one. As for the third row, camouflage again is your best talent choice here because you want to get that stealth opener and potentially get that free trap if things get a little hairy later on and you need to reposition. You can feign death camo, or you can feign death some of your pet if it dies, or you can even feign death and scare beast druids or feral druids, or in that case, and they can't really see it coming, and you can get like a free CC for your chain off that. As for the fourth row, I choose Streamline because again, rapid fire is one of my main damage, and it causes your aim shot to cast faster, which is synergistic with everything else I've talked about before. As for the fifth row, you want to use post haste because you want to have as much mobility as possible, and this is very nice because it removes snares and then it also gives you a little speed boost. So gets you out of situations and helps you move faster. As for this row, double tap is your best choice, but again, be careful with using this, and I'd recommend cast rapid fire when you have double tap rather than aim shot, just because aim shot is 50% less damage on the second one for this, which is a PvP kind of tooltip that's not stated here. As for the last row, I choose lock and load just because you can get more free aim shots, which then leads to more trick shots, which then leads to more damage. But also there's a nice thing where if you pop double tap and you do get a lock and load proc, you can cast rapid fire. Then right when your rapid fire ends, you hit that free aim shot from lock and load, and you actually shoot 2 rapid fires and 2 aim shots. And for the most of the parts, not a lot of people can survive this, and if they do, they blew so many cooldowns just to try to live it. Okay, so now let's talk about stats. So again, I recommend going versatility till about 30%, followed by mastery, followed by crit, followed by haste for your priority. So 1180 is pretty much the min-max for about 30%, but here I'm going 8 off, and I'd rather have a little more mastery, rather than having just a little bit significant decreased damage and just a little bit more damage here, because mastery actually gives you more damage compared to versatility, and also gives you range, which is in its way one of your best defensive options by just staying really far away and hitting at 48 yards at baselines. So you can outrange pretty much casters and definitely melee. So that's the bonus of that. And as for another thing, which is speed, I basically put a speed socket in just to get a little more movement, so it's easier to trap in between goes, and it just helps you with the travel time and with kiting as well. Okay, so now let's talk about Covenant. So Covenant Soulbind. So I choose Pelagos just because it is the one that does the most damage. You have your Combat Meditation, which increases your mastery, which again, like I said, increases your range. So normally you only have 48 yards, but then once you pop your ring, your range increases to 50 yards, which is really nice because then I can pretty much shoot behind a wall from all the way over here, which is pillar to pillar and a little further for most arena maps. So definitely recommend going Pelagos just for extra range and having that extra safety with it. So for the next point, I use this is the points account I choose just to do more damage during your resonating arrow. Now this is one where it can be a little variable. Some people use Marksman Advantage, which I think is pretty good in 2s because you have time, but I feel for 3s, there's so many just run-in melee cleaves or people like to start really fast, so you really don't have time to mark people, so I rather just choose this because it gives me an extra heal dot to survive if I do use this, or if I'm in a 1v1 situation or 2v2 after someone dies or etc. This extra bonus heal is more consistent and it just helps you out. Now, as for the other 2 potency slots, I choose Powerful Precision and Brutal Projectile. For this one, I normally only use Rapid Fire during burst windows when I'm CCing the healer. So some people like to track this, but I don't really track it just because I know that I won't ever use Rapid Fire unless it's during a window where, you know, the healer CC and the person that we're trying to get a score kill on is just extremely vulnerable. As for this row, I use Resilience of the Hunter. I sometimes use this, but more often it's Resilience of the Hunter just because when you feign death, you get a little extra damage reduction, and feign death is about 25-30 seconds depending on if you're playing Craven or Surging, but most DRs or stuns are kind of around that range. So if you can see a go combo, you just pre-feign death that, and you have, you know, that extra damage reduction to survive that go. And then once your healer comes out, they just top you back to full, and then you do your go, and etc. As for the next Conduit slot, I choose this just because it reduces, you know, you're throwing traps in between your goes, which then reduces your disengage, and then disengage is very useful just for survivability, but also it allows you to potentially land a CC when they're melee on you. So you just disengage and throw a trap, which I'll show later. But just having disengage being reduced by potentially 5 seconds just because you're going to disengage, snare traps in between, and throw a freezing trap. Just helps around with your overall survivability.
Subscribe now.